That whiteboard trick isn't for everybody, but it honestly actually helped me a lot. And I'd say like, I feel like that was one of the reasons I passed, seriously. Hi guys, my name is Yeti Alamide Adeburin and welcome back to Living Life with Your Favorite Nurse. So I've gotten a lot of feedback, which I'm so thankful for. A lot of people have found their way to my Instagram messages and said that, you know, they wanted some help preparing for the Nclex and some nursing survival tips. So I decided that I will be uploading videos either Sunday or Saturday, I'm not sure which day yet, strictly relating to nursing videos. They may not be every week, probably maybe 2 or 3 times a month, but that is something I will be doing. So I want to keep my Wednesdays for lifestyle, wellness, and beauty, so that's not changing. Every Wednesday there's going to be a video, but here and there will probably be a nursing video that will pop up Saturday or Sunday. Cool? Good. So let's get into it. Honestly, this video is just my 6 major tips that I used to study for the Nclex, and I was lucky enough to pass in 75 questions. I know there's a lot of videos out there that kind of give tips and stuff, but I feel like these ones are also just really good. I use them myself and I really think that they helped me get to where I am. So before we get started, the Nclex, if anyone's watching and doesn't know what it is, or you are in nursing and you just haven't learned about it yet, it's basically just our licensing exam that we need to get before we can practice here, at least in Canada or in the States. I'm not too sure if you can use the Nclex all over the world, but I know you need to receive it to practice in Canada and the States. I believe the Nclex can give you between 75 questions to 200 and maybe 65 or 275. I'm not exactly sure. I'll Google it and check and put it up somewhere. So the computer will stop whenever it thinks that you know enough, no matter how many questions it gives you, it believes that you'll pass. So for me, it stopped at the minimum, which is 75 questions. So like I said, I wrote the Nclex last year, 2019, July, and I can't remember what day I wrote it on, but I got my results the day after, and I passed. Yay! So the first tip number 1, is start studying as early as you can and just start studying in little ways. For me, I started studying before school was even done. I wouldn't suggest completely, you know, opening the textbooks and start making notes and things like that. When I mean start studying as soon as possible, kind of just skim, let's say if you have the Saunders book, skim the Saunders book. Just read it like a good old book. When you're sitting down watching TV, just open it up, or if you have it on your laptop, just have a read. Don't stress about it. Don't stress, okay, I have to memorize this, I have to memorize that. Just read it like you're reading any ordinary book. The reason I say that is that's what I did, and then when it was time to actually start studying and I opened my Saunders book again, I was like, oh, I remember that. Yeah, I just read that a couple weeks ago or maybe a month ago. It kind of helps to keep that retentive memory and things like that. I thought it was very useful because a lot of light bulbs went off when I actually started studying, and it was kind of just like, oh, I heard that, I remember that. Obviously I still need to study more, but I really feel like it helped my studying. Another thing that you can also do is download apps that kind of send you questions every day. So again, if you're still in school, you can just have an app. Sometimes they send you like a question or a couple questions a day, and just when you're on the bus, answer the questions, or when you're eating dinner, answer a question here and there. Usually the questions are about different topics. So sometimes, you know, you're thinking about peds, sometimes you're thinking about maternity. So it's really great just to kind of get your mind working and remembering stuff that maybe you learned in 2nd year. And when it's time to study, you've kind of touched bases on a lot of different things, and I think that is very, very useful. Tip number 2. So tip number 2 is making a schedule, and making a good schedule. I know a lot of people say this one, and I do agree with it. You can't just study anyhow. You can't just study cardio today, peds tomorrow, maybe mental health tomorrow. You actually have to have something you can follow, and also something that makes sense. We have to ignore other people's schedules. Don't ask other people for their schedules, how they're studying. You can definitely, you know, find out their route, but you need to know that sometimes it takes you maybe longer to cover one thing than another. for you, cardio might be so easy, so you might maybe have it for 2 days, and someone on their schedule might need to go over that for 3 days and things like that. So I use the Saunders book to actually guide my studying. So at the beginning of the Saunders book, it kind of has like maybe nursing elements or essentials or things like that, just like not random things, but like, you know, the concepts in the beginning of nursing. So that's kind of, I just use the Saunders book as my schedule. So for the concept, let's say I had that over a couple, maybe 3 days. So I really went over those. After that, I can't remember what comes after that in the book, but maybe then I focused on peds for another 4 days, then moved into maternity for another 4 or 5 days, things like that. That's how I went about it. I just didn't go up and down, left and right. Also, if you want to do maybe a couple of subjects a day, try to do a harder subject with the easier subject. Like maybe if you wanted to do cardio in the morning and then maybe like eyes or skin in the evening, you could do that. Try not to put such heavy topics together like endocrine and respiratory. That's just a lot, and then you're going to end up not completing your goal for that day, pushing it to tomorrow, and then whatever you had to do tomorrow you have to push the next day, and then your schedule is useless, and then you're just like, screw it. Tip 3 and tip 4 go together, but of course I'll start with tip 3. So tip 3 is study everything. The reason I say study everything is because it's actually important. I hear a lot of people say don't study what you already know. But honestly, sometimes you don't even know what you don't know, and then you realize you don't know, and it's kind of too late. So I would honestly suggest study everything and then take notes of things that you really don't understand or taking you longer to understand, or things that you just keep forgetting. Again, if you read and you see, okay, you know, I know this, I'm good, maybe you can leave that out of your notes. But sometimes you think you know something and then, you know, they ask you a question and you actually don't know it. I realized that a lot during school. I was like, yeah, I heard it in class, like I think I understood it, like I'm gonna focus on all these things that are really difficult. And then the simplest questions I could have got, I didn't because I thought I knew it. So now to tip 4, because they go together, is test your knowledge. Also, when you think you know something, like I said, and you test your knowledge, you realize that you actually don't know it. So the reason I say test your knowledge is because of that. So a lot of times we read, we actually think we understand, but once we test our knowledge, we actually don't. So if you're gonna read cardio, let's say today, you read it for some hours, maybe for an hour or at least 30 minutes, try to find cardio questions to do, whether you're using the Saunders book and you use the end of cardio, or you go online and look for Nclex questions. Try to test your knowledge after you do a subject, and then you can go back and see, wait, actually I don't understand, you know, the parts of the heart, I don't understand the ECG leads, like they asked me and I actually got it wrong, so maybe I don't know it the way I thought I did. And then that will also help you confirm, okay, I actually do understand what I read. So it's good to know, okay, I understand this, I don't understand that, and then that helps you to go back and actually figure out what you need to do. In regards to Uworld, I'm gonna have a video about it, but one of my suggestions is actually study a little bit before you go to Uworld, but we'll talk about that in another video. Try to read and do all those things and then test your knowledge, rather just going and testing your knowledge straight off the bat. Sometimes you need to refresh your memory, and then that's all you need to get an answer right. Number 5, take care of your body. That is like such an obvious statement, and we're all nurses or either healthcare professionals or people. Always take care of your body. We're going to be telling it to our patients. We already tell it to our patients. You have to take care of your body to perform the way you want to perform. You can't study for hours upon hours, even though that's what I tried to do, and think that you're going to retain stuff. You're going to need a break. You're going to need to eat. You're going to actually need to go out. Some things I also really didn't want to do. I didn't want to go out. But after a while, I realized I read for maybe 3 hours and I don't remember anything because I'm so exhausted and tired. So you have to remember to actually take care of yourself. If you study through the week, which I did, that's okay, but maybe Saturday, Sunday, use those 2 days for yourself. Try not to think about the Nclex, try not to think about studying, but remember yourself and remember that your health actually matters, and it will affect your studying, and it will affect, honestly, you as a whole. So don't forget your body and don't forget your health as you study. So tip number 6, make studying your own. And this one is so important as well because there's a lot of study materials out there, and you can use them as guides, but you have to make them your own. Think about what you did and how you studied in university and make your studying for the NCLEX very similar, or do what just kind of helps you to learn better. Some people can read and not write anything. I don't even know how they can do that, but there are actually some people out there. I have to read and write, and it feels like when I write, it's going to my brain, to my hand, and I remember it forever. So me, I'm a writer. Some people have to talk to themselves. Some people love cue cards, all those things. I'm also a very visual person. So one tip that I did to study, and I think it actually really helped me, was I bought a whiteboard and I put it on my wall, and I would read, and after I would go up and stand beside the whiteboard like a crazy person and act like I was teaching a class. So I would talk about the endocrine system. I'd say, this is this, this is this, this is this. And when I couldn't talk about something or explain it, then I knew I didn't understand it. A lot of times, like, we think about it and we're like, oh, like, we know it. But when it's time to talk and write it out, we don't know anything. And I realized that a lot. I was like, oh, like, I know this ketoacidosis, like, I get it. And then I was trying to write it and I was like, oh, like, I can explain, like, I know it, but I can't really explain it. So I was like confused and things like that, but I thought I knew it. That whiteboard trick isn't for everybody, but it honestly actually helped me a lot. And I'd say, like, I feel like that was one of the reasons I passed, seriously, because I was just talking to myself and writing on a whiteboard. And that's also a way of studying as well. So that probably is my favorite tip. Definitely making studying your own and making it to be fun. Studying should also be fun. Like, when studying is a task, it's hell. So try to do whatever you can to make it fun. Include your family if you can. Like, some people like to study with their friends. I'm not really that type of person because I just need to get it myself. But whatever you can to make this fun and joyous and not stressful the way it is, try it. Other than the grace of God, these are the 6 tips that I believe really helped me to pass the NCLEX and finish in 75 questions. There's gonna be a lot more videos about the day of the NCLEX, the night before the NCLEX, how I had a panic attack, if Uworld is useful, and what other resources I used that were really good and how to use them. So please subscribe wherever you see a subscribe button. Click the bell so that you get notified when another video comes up, just because I don't really know when I'm going to be posting, but I'm going to try and post as much as often. And I know a lot of people are studying for their NCLEX right now, and they will for the rest of their lives. So please subscribe. Also, please share to your friends that are studying as well. I pray for everybody that's studying, whether you're religious or not. I pray that God gives you guys strength and help and hope, and you guys got this. And we will celebrate everybody, pass or fail. But there's no reason that we all cannot pass. I can't wait to hear all the success stories. And even if you didn't pass as well, I'd love to hear about it. And if I can help you in any absolute way, I would love to. So let me know. You can message me here if you'd like, or on my Instagram or on my Twitter, anywhere that's comfortable for you. I'd love to help you. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a blessed week. Keep living life from your favorite nurse.